The following footage is to demonstrate the tankiness of the build. Please pay attention to the life bar. Enjoy. What's up guys, it's Project Long Time No See. For today's build video, I decided I wanted to go full tank and attempt to make the tankiest build possible, at least for axe anyways. Obviously this is hard to show off footage wise without being boring, since I go balls deep on defense and kind of forego offense, so battles do take a lot longer than I'm used to, hence fast forwarding some of the clips. However, I'm at a point where it's almost impossible to die unless you stand still or against a horde of enemies, thus the name for the build, Immortal Axe. This is a variation of Mastodon, however instead of being half and half in damage and defense, I attempt to go as defensive as possible. For those wanting an update on Mastodon, pretty much follow the exact stats and gear I used in this build, with the exception of some things like the axe, spirits, and some of the buffs. But for this build, I used Gozutenno's axe for the wind debuff, as applying the wind status will lower enemy attack by a significant amount, thus making us tankier. I used Frontline as chest piece for 12.7% key reduction, along with 5-piece Tatenashi and 2-piece Master Swordsman for more key reduction. For weapon, these are the stats you'd want. Nearly everything is irreplaceable. You're going to want Skill Life Drain for life gain when you spin, Fam Dam A for more damage, Weaken melee weapons for more defense, as this can trigger fast and often due to Mad Spinner being a fast multi-hitting attack, so you can laugh in the face of things that use weapons, as this really lowers damage by a significant amount, I would think. And of course we also have change to attack, either stamina, strength, or body is fine. And finally, close combat damage or skill damage for more damage. You can use Mononobe Axe if you want extra key reduction stat and you don't want to reforge change to attack, however you do lose the wind stat, so it's up to you. For ranged weapon, you're going to want Warrior the West Bow with agility damage bonus A on it, as it gives us the most damage. The rest of the stats don't really matter, however equipment drop rate is pretty nice, as I'm pretty sure that affects us. And yeah, we have damage reduction for Warrior the West, that's why we use it, same thing with Raven Wing. Moving on to armor, with patch 1.07 we got a lot of great new stats to play with, and we take full advantage of a lot of the defensive stuff that they added. So the type of bonus for absorbing Amrita on Helm is your choice. I chose defense, however attack and auto recovery are also good substitutes. Of course life is handy as well as elemental damage reduction while guarding. For our chest piece, I stack tons of damage reduction under certain circumstances, like when you're out of key or when you have a status element. This is really handy considering it's fairly common to get debuffed by bosses or reds. You also want life and receive elemental damage reduction. And of course you want attack stat on all your armor, inherited from gloves. For gloves, you want life on them as an inheritable, which can be passed down from chest piece for the highest roll onto your gloves. I got this stat, Timely Guard Life Recovery, which is actually pretty decent. As in the second Maria fast forwarded clip, I demonstrated that whenever I blocked, I gained some 300 life back per guard. So it's a pretty nice health recovery alternative to have. Of course we do use full tatas, the tankiest set in the game, giving you tons of damage reduction if you're unfamiliar with it. For pants, I chose auto recovery whenever we have status ailments to give us more life back. Everlasting Key is also a nice stat to have on pants and feet, as it decreases the likelihood of running out of breath whenever you run out of key, enabling you to move out the way and not get hit again, so it's really nice to have that. And lastly, running speed and dash endurance on either pants or feet as well. For our charms, you're going to want these blue prayer beads, as they come with the highest yokai damage reduction stat of 8 to 10%. You also want yokai close combat damage as the main stat to look for on these, similarly on your Yasukani as well. I have wind damage on these prayer beads too, however life is more desirable on both charms if you can. Damage from behind or receive elemental attack are also good too. Now moving on to stats, here they are at a bit over level 300. Like always, and I hate having to mention this constantly, you can be lower level than this. Simply lower the 99 stats to 49 or 50 and you can do this build at around level 200. For those higher level than this, you want 99 strength, and lastly, raise heart with the remaining points you have till level 400. We surpassed 30.1 weight for hidden damage bonus, and armor can go past 3k after upgrading fully. Attack can also be a little bit higher, about 200 more when you finally max out. For spirits, I chose Blue Dragon as the main, as it has amazing stats. notably giving us damage reduction whenever we attack. Combined with its spirit protection of 24%, we get a total of 38% damage reduction while we're attacking. And since we use Mad Spinner, we're always going to be attacking. I've heard people try Genbu instead, but that only gives you 34% damage reduction, and the defensive buff for magic is rather small unless you go fully into it, which would take away from your other stats. And with the dragon, we also gain key recovery speed and the possibility to deal 21% more damage when we're at full life, which is super easy to do. So that's why I chose it over Genbu. For his secondary, you're going to want Karajishi for life drain. For the Mastodon variant, you'd keep Karajishi as the main, then you have Izuna or Bisha as your secondary. For clan, we go Honka Tonka, which gives us a 40% chance at minimum to have damage whenever you're at full life, which again is the point of being tanky. It is a chance, however, so it won't always trigger. Alternatively, you can try Kato Clan, which is 10% damage reduction when you're attacking for more consistency. However, you lose Honda's skill damage, and honestly, we need all the offense we can get, so I sided with Honda. For this segment, I'll go over the Onmyo and Ninjutsu we use. Essentially, get all of these that you can. For the passives, you should know what to get by now. I choose Power Pill over Carnage plus Steel Talisman combo in order to use Guardian Spirit Talismans for our dragon to debuff enemies or bosses with the wind debuff super easily. For a Mastodon variant, you still use the same skills from that video. Rejuvenation gains us health, and Protection Talisman is used when at full life to prevent damage so we stay at full life. We do have one slot free on our hotbars, so I recommend getting Sacred Waters, which act as Kekai Talisman, giving us super key regen. They can be bought from Tomate for 280 gold each. Now for the final portion of the video, I'll be going over skills briefly. You want Awakening and Omnio Tree as your Mystic Art, Incantation Mastery, copy all the stats you see here, pause the video if you need to, Enlightenment for Ninja Tree, copy the stats here, Medicine Man, Holy Man's pretty nice too if you plan to run Sacred Waters, and of course Ninja Tool Mastery. Get all the passes from all the weapon trees except for Spear and Odachi, those don't really help us that much. You want Fortitude, Battle Focus to reduce keygen. Of course we have Mad Spinner, our bread and butter skill. The best axe skill in my opinion. We have Inner Light, so you would deal more damage to stuff that's in the yokai realm. You want Heaven and Earth, Kintaro Kata for axe damage against yokai. Heaven and Earth and Tri-Spark are our main skills against humans as they break key, do a lot of key damage to break people's guard if they guard a lot. I use this combo in Marobashi. I switch between those two skills. Corner Bore, and the rest of the stats are up to you. Whatever you have left, you put into Melee Mastery. And that is it for the Immortal Axe build. Like I said, chances of you dying with this build, once you have everything right anyways, is slim to none. No idea if it's good in PvP, but for PvE, it's pretty good. Unfortunately, Yokai Instance fun is out of the window, as reds hit a little too hard and debuff too often to be able to tank like in Way the Strong before the updates happened. But now that I made the tankiest axe I can come up with, next I'll try making the most offensive axe can be. But thanks for watching. Kind of a chill video, but hopefully interested in people who want to be tanks. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, comment down below with any questions, and subscribe for more Nioh epicness.